Oh, yes, it's true. We go live for you. Okay, setting this up. Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm excited to be here for this magical Thursday because Thursdays are magical. They're the day, but it's Friday Junior. That's what we call it. Good morning to those jumping on Instagram. Nice to see you. This is a show like this show we did yesterday, but it's today. Yes, this is Ask a Traffic Cop, and my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police constable with the Toronto Police Service. I go live on social media answering your traffic and police questions. But not only do I go live, we create content. We post it everywhere. We do stuff and things. We are here to answer your traffic and police questions, and of course, general police questions about anything. You know, stuff and things. We also, of course, talk about becoming a police officer. So many people ask us questions. And if you are interested in joining the Toronto Police Service, know that we are currently hiring. www.tps.ca/careers to get you more information on that. Anything and everything you've ever wanted to know about becoming a police officer. And we'll talk more about that as we go on with the live stream. If you are watching and want to ask us questions, know that you can. That's how this works. You ask questions, we give you answers. If you don't ask me anything, I will just talk about whatever comes to mind for an hour, and I'm okay with that. Maybe you won't, but I'd be good with it because I got lots to talk about. Lots and lots to talk about. I have my water here. We're good to go. Okay. I did not make a coffee prior to the show, and I would have liked to have had a coffee. But I'll make it after the show. I will survive. Okay, let's get into it. If you want to ask us questions, know that you can on pretty much any platform. And there's some news because things are changing. Yes, there are some changes coming. And let's start with TikTok. You can ask questions on TikTok. JD, our producer, is in there, and he's taking your questions from the chat. So if you would be so kind as to add the letter Q before your question, it'll make his life a lot easier identifying what to question and what's just conversation amongst the people. Because we have lots of folks that come in here all the time. And just to acknowledge some of those, we've got Brandon with a good morning, Susie, who is here with a good morning, Clayton, Emma, we've got Shmev, morning to you. Jasper, we've got Richard who just jumped in, hasn't said anything yet, but we know, that's just a matter of time. Kane, who wants to know if they can ride a go-kart on the 401. I think that would probably be a bad idea. Not only would it be illegal, it's dangerous. Dan Gray coming in. We have Mo with the first question in the chat. So very cool. Okay. What do we have here? We also have Akila Draconis with greetings and salutations coming in from YouTube. Pepe, who is coming in from YouTube as well. Good morning to you. Mommy C4 coming in from Twitch. Good morning to you. And Big Jeff Fresh, who is joining, as always, by YouTube. Chase has a... let's see here. Well, I think we're going to lead with Chase's question. We'll come back to that in a second. If you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, if you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, we can throw your questions on screen just like I've been doing with the good morning messages. But if you're on Twitter, we can't actually see anything from you. So I would encourage you, if you're on Twitter, to come over and use the magical trafficcop.ca to get all of our social links, and you can find out where we are. You can use that fuzzies code in the corner. That takes you to the link tree, which has links to everywhere. Now, this magical little peace sign, I have some bad news. I have bad news that if you've been in our volley group, you already know, because I'm pretty sure everyone's been notified. And that is, let me put it on screen, that volley will cease to be on the 30th of, can I share this? Actually, why bother? All it is a message saying that they're going away. So if you are used to joining our volley and sending messages, it's been a lot of fun. It allowed us to have video, voice, and text messaging and have conversations outside of the show. And we had a little community of 150 plus people there. And it's, again, sad to see it go. Great platform, great technology, not gonna be around anymore. So what are we going to do? Well, I invite you to join our Discord server. It's something we had in the past that our friend set up, and we will bring it back. And this I will share. If you go to trafficcop.ca, you will see my link tree. And the link tree has stuff like this. And if you go to Discord server, it'll invite you into the group. And we can have conversations there. You can ask questions there. And we can keep the conversation going all the time. So come join the server. Now, while I've got VoiceOver Cop or the traffic what is this, Linktree business up. There's lots of things you can do. So if you join or come to this page, you can see all of our other social media stuff, our podcast, our employment page. You can connect with me directly on all of my platforms. That you can also go down to the very bottom, and you can see these great useful links, like how to renew your license plate. That takes you right to the place you need to be. Check driver's license to make sure that it's valid. Like if you're loaning your friend a car, you want to make sure that their license is valid. Showing you a license card doesn't mean a thing if it's not valid. And guess what? You're responsible for ensuring that a driver's license is currently valid. Okay. And when I say you're responsible, I mean you can be charged under the Highway Traffic Act for allowing someone who is not properly licensed to drive your vehicle. You've permitted it, you've enabled it, you are responsible. Now, when it comes to residents and new residents or people traveling to Canada, there is a link there for allowing you to, or for getting you all the information you need to know about what the laws here are. And of course, if you're buying a vehicle, you can check the VIN number. Oh, I did it again. I'm trying to say VIN. It's the VIN number, vehicle identification number. It's that long string of text that each is unique to each vehicle out there, and you want to check that to make sure you're not buying a vehicle that is not legal. All right, let me turn this bad boy off and go back to the regular look and feel. Let's see what's happening. Oh, first things first. Vision Zero Enforcement Team. Yes, important things. Today being the 30th of March, the Vision Zero Enforcement Team are focused on Vision Zero activities. What does that mean? Well, we know that we know that the big four, the activities that drivers engage in willfully, of speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, impaired driving, those activities are directly linked and lead to serious injury and death on our roads. So they are out there focusing on those activities because they want to make the road safer for everybody. And they're doing it today in 32 Division and 41 Division. Those are the neighborhoods of Downsview, Willowdale, Newtonbrook, Bathurst Manor, Dorset Park, Kennedy, Birchcliff, Cliffside, neighborhoods where real people live, work, and play and deserve to be safe. If they were your neighborhoods, you'd be upset if somebody was coming in and terrorizing your neighborhood. Don't terrorize others. Of course, if you do, expect to be pulled over, ticketed, and consequences come out of that. There's demerit points and fines and all those things. They add up, and eventually you don't drive anymore, because that's what happens when you accumulate points. You get suspended, you get letters, and bad things happen, or they get really expensive, or both. Okay. If you want to find out where they are every day, make sure you're following us at Twitter or on Instagram or on Facebook, because we actually post those every morning, and you'll be in the know. So Chase asked earlier, why is it common for people to blur out license plates in photos? I'm pretty sure you can get any personal information from a plate number, or you can't get any personal information from a plate number. You know what? It depends on who you're saying people. Certainly we have personal information we can access. So bad persons who are stunt driving and engaged in all sorts of illegal activity, if they're busy, promoting all their dastardly deeds when they are stunt driving, they blur them out because they don't want to get caught after the fact. But then they post 5 other photos that have their license plate visible. So I don't know if they really thinking this through. In any case, we tend to blur things out if it's a personal vehicle, not to identify anyone, just because we're not trying to point them out, to make fun of them. We're posting things for educational purposes to let people know what's going on, but not to specifically call out a person. Criminal matters is different than when it's a POA or a Provincial Offences Act. So yeah, it's a public thing, but we still do it as a courtesy. Aberdeen, do you miss the Crown Victoria? Oh, do I ever? I was a big fan. I am a big person. I'm 6'5", and the Crown Victoria fit me a whole lot better than any of the new vehicles that have come out since. Is it a big problem? Not really. I drive whatever they give me, and right now that's most often a minivan, and I look good when I ride that minivan. my favorite vehicle, and one of the reasons I love being in the motor squad so much, was the motorcycle. Riding a Harley Davidson gave me it was a very comfortable ride. I sat taller, my legs had lots of room, the air conditioning was always on. Mind you, I say that the wind was always on when we were moving, but it got hot in the summer. But yeah, definitely missed the Crown Vic. I think it was a shame to say goodbye to it. But you know what? They stopped making it. We bought the last of whatever was available, and they've since run their course. And we have a few. I think we have one that's left as part of our classic car collection. Not classic car collection like we're out there buying cars, but these are old police vehicles. We keep them in the fleet as historic fleet vehicles. And we have the Grinch who says, "Sorry I'm late. here to listen to this great show every morning. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate the support. Let's see here. If you don't already follow us, please do. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with Toronto Police. I'm a traffic cop, and I'm really interested in traffic safety. I've been in motor vehicle collisions. One of the reasons I'm a media relations officer doing the social media thing is I was hurt. I was in a motor vehicle collision. I was on a Harley Davidson police motorcycle riding back to the station when a car decided to hit me. Well, it wasn't they decided to, but they weren't doing what they were supposed to do to be safe. As a result, I learned how to fly, but I never got the course on landing, so it was not fun. In any case, I'm very interested in traffic safety and making the road safer for everybody, and that works well because that's what we do here. We educate people so that they can have fewer issues, fewer questions, and fewer tickets. Hopefully, being safer all at the same time. Because if you don't want to get a ticket, if you don't want to get in trouble, don't do the thing that's illegal. People complain and allege that we are tax collectors here to make money for the government. We're just here to take the money from good people. If you're a good person, you don't break the law. And I'm sorry to say that means that if you are breaking the law willfully, then you're not really being a good person. I'm not saying you're a bad person, but you're not doing the right thing. And you may not realize, but your actions have consequences and are putting lives at risk. When you speed, when you break rules, you are increasing your crash, potential, and that means that you could be taking somebody out of the game. You could hit a pedestrian, you could hit a car, you could hit a person, and there's real long-lasting effects. Now, it could be a fender bender, which may only cost, a few $1,000s to fix. And people say, well, what's the big deal? Well, it is a big deal. It's not right. Minor collisions will happen, but ones that are faster, when people speed, they have a greater impact, a greater amount of damage. And saying that insurance is there just to fix it, it'll be okay, isn't okay. It's not okay. I'm not going to rant anymore. But please follow the rules. And hopefully we can help you because it's easier to follow the rules once you understand them. And here's a question from Bronson. I'm getting my G2, but my license expires in October before I get my G. What can I do? So here's the deal. My understanding is if you are getting your G2, you have the opportunity to, depending on how close you are to expiry, that you would actually be able to pay again and have that extended. Definitely raise this question with the ministry, with the Service Ontario or Drive Test people, whomever you are engaged with when you're there doing it, and see what you can do. Because my understanding is many people getting their G2s close to expiry, they know that you need 12 months before you can get your G. They will extend or charge you monies to renew. And if you were to be a G2 driver who was about to expire after the end of the 5-year period that you started when you got your G1, then you can take another G2 test to extend that G2. But the only way to continue along is with a test. You can't just pay and not do a test. But that sounds like it. I think I've answered your question. If you have other questions, please feel free to ask. Okay. Is it Mo Sweet? Are all police officers free to video their day-to-day work and post about it? Actually, that's a fantastic question. So we have we have social media qualified officers. There's a course taught at the police college, and it talks about all sorts of aspects related to social media, what is permitted and what is not. And if you've taken that course, you are permitted to have a social media account, and you can have Twitter and Facebook and all that jazz. But you have to have the course, and if they have the course, they are absolutely free to engage and share, information that's appropriate. But if you don't have the course, you shouldn't be on there. And that's just the way it is. I've been lecturing on that course, as a matter of fact. Chase, will you be able to play Discord videos after the April 30th? Also, small changes should be made. We can't send media in the general chat. Okay, so we'll talk about that offline. But I have not. We've not been using Discord. Discord was something we used prior to the bringing in the magical and soon to be over. I'm so sad about it. But yeah, volley. So volley was great because it just worked so well. But we'll get it up and running. I don't. Eventually, we'll be able to play things. In the meantime, I do have volley on screen. So if you have a video, please send it there. At least until the 30th, as we transition to the other app, the Discord server. Okay. What do we have here? I'm gonna find my mouse. Good morning to you, Richard. And the Grinch has a comment. Traffic police officer, I always never like the word cop. Um, I don't have a problem with the word cop. I use the word cop. Citizen on patrol. I don't know where is it. Constable on patrol. I don't know what the origins truly are. They claim to be one thing or the other. But I have no problem with the word cop. I have other words that I don't like that people use, but cop I can live with. But I appreciate that your desire to be more official and polite. But I don't think it's a slight to say cop. Okay. Let's see here. Linda has a question. My daughter just got her beginner's license. Do I need to add her to my car insurance? Fantastic question. It's a reasonable one. And the answer is I would notify your insurance company, but it's not a requirement for most insurance companies. In fact, they would just take the information down, but there's no charge or premium increase because they're being supervised. Once your daughter gets her G2, then they will want to know that, and then they will expect to add your daughter to the policy as an occasional driver. And that's a good thing because it starts creating a history of insurance, and long term is beneficial. But also, if you don't do it, they may deny a claim in the event of a collision, which we don't, of course, want. No claims. We don't want claims. We don't want collisions. But good luck and congratulations to your daughter for joining the League of Drivers. You should start something. I say not start something. Obviously, start a League of Drivers thing. I think that's kind of cool. Have a little club. Everyone with a driver's license is automatically a member. Okay. Do you think the graduated licensing system is a good system compared to the old 365 system? Dating myself here. I too am a child of the 365. Maybe that's the club we need to start. Those old the old folks like us who got our system before the graduated licensing system. So a little backstory: the day I turned 16, 9 a.m., maybe even earlier, I was excused from school by my wonderful mother, who drove me to the local licensing office where I went in and got my 365. And I've been driving every single day since, save and except for holidays where a car was not involved, because driving on the beach just doesn't make sense. But anyway, I've been driving that long. Shortly thereafter, I got my learner's permit, which was I keep thinking 70 days, whatever the M1 or the learner's permit for motorcycle was at the time. And yeah, I've been riding motorcycle ever since. Within 30 days, I had full GM license thereabouts without having any formal training. Now, that's not true. I took an in class with young drivers, and I did take in class. So maybe 30 days, really packing it in there to get all my road training. But I didn't have any motorcycle formal training at the time. That's where I was going with this. Anyway, uh, it worked out okay. It worked out okay for me, but that does not mean that it's good for everybody. And more experience and training is good. In fact, I think that like I have since gotten a lot of advanced training, partially from policing, but also on my own, taking advanced rider programs prior to becoming a police officer. So training is good. I think the graduate licensing program is good, and I think we should be stricter, not looser. Stricter, more lenient. I don't know. I think that we have a lower quality of general driver skill out there on the road now than than we see in other countries that have a very strict policy. So I think that maybe it needs to be revamped, but I don't have a problem with the graduated program in particular. Tim Shallow, good morning to you. We have Pete. What is the brightest headline? Pete, I wish I had an answer for you because I keep talking about it and I keep saying I'm going to get an answer for it, and then I keep getting distracted because there's a squirrel. Anyway, brightest headlights. I've been told the answer for this, and maybe some of our friends in the chat know and can share it with us. But brightest headlight. I'm actually writing this down again. The big thing is color. It has to be white, and at certain temperatures they start looking blue. That's illegal. But I don't know the brightest. There's Kelvin for temperature, and then there's simply lumens or candela for power, and I don't have an answer for you. But we'll see if we can get one before the end of the day, before the end of the hour. The Grinch says Discord is a fantastic platform. It is. We used to do. We were using it quite extensively at one point, and we were doing like group chats, and not just group chats, but group calls, and just taking opportunities to chat and mingle and be friendly, because that's what we were doing. It was an opportunity to converse differently. Okay, what is this? What are your thoughts on people wanting the TPS budget cut in favor of more funding for community-based programs? Dr. Nick wants to know. Not really my thing. My personal opinion is I think we need police, and police provide an incredibly important role. I don't argue that we do a lot of things that other people could do. Like we deal with a lot of mental health calls that maybe there would be others. But the interesting thing is when you deal with mental health calls, most of those workers want police to attend. So we're not giving up anything. But yeah, I don't think cutting the budget is a good thing, but I'm biased because I'm a police officer who thinks we need more police officers. So unfortunately, Dr. Nick, not the right guy to ask. Can a trucker use the left lane while passing? Let me open this up. Can a trucker use the left lane while passing on a 3-lane road, assuming Highway 401? So truckers can use all lanes unless there are signs prohibiting their use. I grew up thinking that truckers could not use the left lane at all. I was incorrect because I was informed that there are signs. The signs are what give the authority to use or not use the lane, so it depends. And the biggest thing is that you shouldn't be in the left lane unless you're actively passing. However, no one can exceed the speed limit ever, even though that's not something we obviously we don't see very often where people actually follow the rules. I continue to drive the speed limit when I drive my personal vehicle, and I continue to have people upset with me, and I'm okay with that. Blinky was spotted yesterday being towed around. Is it being revived? It's not being revived. What's revived? He's alive and parked in the garage, and gets towed around for certain events, but he hasn't been rolled around in a long time, so he lives on the trailer. For anyone who doesn't know what Blinky is, go Google that. There's some YouTube videos out knowing the true understanding of what what Blinky is all about. I do have a plan in my back pocket for Blinky 2.0. I'm just trying to figure out some Arduino programming and some money finding so I can actually fund that project. But I do want to bring Blinky 2.0 to fruition. Uh, Thank you for acknowledging my squirrel. Okay. Let's see here. We got this is really the same folks jumping in, and we're having conversations, and it's great. If you have questions, know that we'll let you in here too. You can ask questions. We're not just about the regular gang. So if you're watching and you have questions, please feel free to jump in. Just wanted to scroll back, and although it hasn't been a problem, and I'm not aware of any issues, know that if you're spamming, you might get blocked. And this is particularly a question or a statement addressing people in the TikTok chat. I know sometimes people get in there and repeat themselves and want to get heard. Know that I'm not actually watching the chat. It's our producer, JD, who's doing all the work in there. So if you put a Q before your question, you'll be identified as a question. And if you ask it a whole bunch of times, you might annoy people and you might be asked to leave. Let's see here. And just by the way, Brandon, hello to you, coming from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. It's nice to find out if you're watching from somewhere outside of Ontario. I mean, wherever you're from, I'd love to know where you're from. So please throw it in the chat, and we'll scroll through and see who we can acknowledge and say hello to. And by the way, hello to my wife, who is on TikTok of all places today. Usually she's on YouTube. Miss Leo wife. Okay. Going back into the task at hand of things we're discussing. So the Grinch says, Ontario's Ministry of Transportation told us no more than 4 front headlights, driving lights, or fog lights may be lit one at a time if they may be lit at one time. Thank you. My reading is off. If they project a beam having an intensity over 300 candela. That is absolutely correct. And I just posted a video this morning saying exactly that. What I'm curious about, what is the maximum? But that is correct. You can have up to 4 headlights. A headlight is one that creates more than 300 candela of power, according to the HTA. And it's all about the HTA because other jurisdictions have different definitions. But that is here. So headlights, high beams, and fog lights, if some people want to put them all on at the same time, and those could be separate bulbs, that's actually not legal. So a proper wiring system would cancel out 2 of those lights if you added a third one, like turning on your fogs. If you're high beam, anyway, we're getting too deep in the weeds. But I'm still curious about the brightest light. Cutting police budget is not something I would dare recommend under the current operational environment. Well, thank you, Richard. I appreciate that. And that, of course, is a hot topic. Lots of stuff going on. Police are being asked to do a lot of stuff, and we are currently short-staffed. That's why we're hiring so many people. But that's well above my pay grade. So interesting things. I do what I do. Other people do what they do. I'm not involved in that. What is this? Oh, it's a good question that I can't really answer, and I'll tell you why. How much over the speed limit do the automated speed cameras give a ticket? Well, here's the big thing. One, don't speed because that's illegal and unsafe. But I can't actually tell you because I don't actually know. And the reason I don't know is because we don't run the program. It's run by the City of Toronto. They have the automated enforcement team. I recently chatted with two of the chaps from that team, and you can go look at the TPS Traffic Jam podcast. You can find it on YouTube or actually anywhere podcasts can be downloaded. You can check it out and watch, and they'll tell you. They won't tell you, but that's either way. Lots of interesting information. I think one of my favorite episodes of the podcast, aside from some internet issues during recording where it was freezing and stuff. So yeah. Max Headroom. Who knows who Max Headroom is? The producer's doing a great job. Thanks. And of course, JD knows that too now. Okay. Chase is in Alberta. Okay. Chase is in Alberta. Chase gets around. Moving and grooving. All right. Emmeline. What about the drivers who don't adjust their aftermarket lights that blind others? It's a big problem. If you have an aftermarket light, if you have a factory light, I've heard of factory lights that are from the dealership not being directed properly. If your headlights are not pointed in the right direction, if they are blinding, if they are just wrong, that you can be charged for improper headlights. It is your responsibility as the driver to ensure that things are correct. So if you're parked in front of your garage and one headlight's pointed over there and one is pointed down there, I don't know on the screen that didn't reflect very well, but if they're all squirrely, that's a problem. You can manually adjust it. You can have them adjust it. It needs to be adjusted, and you can be charged if it's not adjusted correctly. That's a whole lot of adjusted. Okay. Interesting. Richard says, I've noticed that some drivers have their high beams on because they can't see that well through their tinted windows and tinted windshield. Well, obviously, tinted windshields are absolutely prohibited. Tinted windows are permitted within reason, although many people who think they've got legal tinted windows are wrong. And it's a very, very light amount of tint that is permissible under the Highway Traffic Act, more than the permitted 30% light blockage, remaining 70% of light getting through, allowing 70% to transmit through the window. If it's more than that, it's an unsafe vehicle, pull your license plates. But there are charges for obscuring the driver's view. In addition to that, if I see a heavily tinted vehicle, I'm taking your license plates because it's an unsafe vehicle for the road. Because guess what? Our eyes actually require light to see. I know it's shocking. Without light, we don't see. So you need the more light you get, the better you see, generally speaking. Of course, too bright is bad. But if you have 95% of the light being blocked, that's 95% of the information. Think about what's a good example? A data throughput. If you have high-speed internet or low-speed internet, if you have less data coming through, you have less information to process. It's just bad. It's unsafe. Maybe that's not the best example, but it is an example, and I'll stick with it. What do we have here? But driving with high beams on is absolutely an offense, and we do ticket for that, and as we should. But we have to. The biggest problem is we can't be everywhere at all times. We can't see everything unless we see it. It has to be happening in front of us for us to take action. Can you make a report of a vehicle that you see doing something wrong? Sure, you can. You can go to tps.ca/. Actually, the / I was going to give you is likely not active since we change the thing. But go to the main site for tps.ca and you can see online reporting, and you can make reports of issues in your neighborhood, issues about a particular vehicle, and those will result in a police officer looking at the report and actually taking action, even if it just means writing a letter to the registered owner and saying, hey, your vehicle was observed at this date and time and it's got a problem. Know that we now know. It can be as simple as that. Yeah. What is this? Question from TikTok, or maybe it's a TikTok. How does the TPS officers generally perceive Crown/prosecutors? Is there camaraderie? You know what? There are people that I know from long-term writing a lot of tickets and spending time, and we're on the same team. Do we go hang out and and go to the rodeo together? I don't know. I don't have anybody that I hang out with that's a prosecutor, but we have a respect for one another. Again, we are providing information and giving them work to do, because if we stopped writing tickets, they wouldn't have anything to prosecute. We're a team. I don't know any other way to answer that. Certainly, there's no animosity that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's people who don't like each other, but that's just it's not me. I like everybody, ish. What do we got here? Mo Sweet has another question. Interesting question. If we see an officer was speeding with no reason, how would the public report the incident? Mo Sweet, I have an interesting question for you. I'll tell you the answer, but I have a question for you. How would you know if the officer is speeding for no reason? And I say this because we don't have to have lights on. There's no sign that says going to a call. There's no way for you to know. Now, you absolutely, if you believe that the police are doing something wrong, can make a report. You can contact a supervisor at a division. You can call the non-emergency line and be transferred to an officer who would be able to refer you to the right place. The OIPRD is a place. That's the OIPRD is basically a civilian oversight. You can go make a complaint there, and they'll do what they do. They'll investigate. And on our end, we'd be able to see if they're going to a legit call. But there's a ton of reasons why we can exceed the speed limit. If we are going to do enforcement, or if we're trying to get ahead of a pack of traffic because we see a vehicle that we need more information on. There's a million reasons. And the law says that we are exempt from the speed limits when in the lawful execution of our duties, which means we're allowed to speed when we're in a police vehicle. A personal vehicle, not allowed. That's a different story. Okay. But that's the big thing. A lot of people think we're doing something wrong. Well, you're using your cell phone. Well, we're legally allowed to use our cell phone. But you don't know what we're doing when we're doing it. And that's not to say that everyone who does it is doing the right thing. I'm just saying that I wonder how you know they're not doing the right thing. Okay. What do we got here? What is this? I do LOL, but we oldies LOL, the old MTV days. MTV. How about Solid Gold? Who knows that show? I see Most Sweet because I just looked over in the chat on TikTok. Are police officers only allowed to speed when there's an emergency? And no, police are allowed to exceed the speed limit during the lawful execution of their duties. So it's any time while they're operating lawfully. Obviously, we're responsible for everything we do. So if it was seen as like going for coffee, not okay. That's not the reason to speed. Enforcing traffic laws, going to for any lawful purpose, we can exceed the speed limit. How long was your OPC in your time? It wasn't that long ago. I don't even remember. Was it 3 months at the OPC? I think it's about a 3-month period. The deal is that you do pre and post Elmer with the Toronto Police, and then you go to OPC for their term, and then you come back and finish it. So, but I don't remember the exact. I think it was about 3 months. Toronto Police. Back to tint. The darkest tint you can legally have and still be certified for use on the road is 30% light blockage. That's for the windows left and right of the driver, and you can have nothing on the front windshield. But that doesn't mean you won't get tickets, because if I cannot see you, because atmospheric conditions, meaning if it's dark outside and I cannot see inside, I can't identify you as a driver. I can't see if you're using your phone. I can't see if you're wearing a seatbelt. If I cannot see, the ticket for would be obscure interior of motor vehicle with color or reflective tint. Sorry for coughing in your ear. But yeah, that's still a charge. So really very, very light tint is permissible. And most people have much, much more. Let's see here. So Chase says that he doesn't think that the trucks can use a left lane on King's highways. There's a charge for prohibited use of left lane on King's Highway. We'll have to look at that because King's Highway is the 400 series stuff, not the city highways that Toronto have. But it's my understanding that if there's no sign present, there's no absolute ban on left lane use. But we can look into that more. And he follows up by saying that there's no mention of signage in the charge, and that's okay because signage is what we would use. It would be disobey sign, not left lane. That's the charge for being in the left lane. If a sign was present, would be disobeying that sign. Are yellow headlights legal? Yes, they are. As a matter of fact, yellow or white light is legal. And someone told me yesterday in the live stream that they had been charged for having yellow lights, and then it was dismissed in court because it's legal. Yeah. Akila Draconis was aware of Solid Gold, didn't watch it. Yes, I was not yet 10. I was somewhere between 4 and 9, maybe 10. And that was when I used to come home from school and watch Solid Gold. It was the birth of music videos with Dionne Warwick hosting the show, and there was like on like the Solid Gold dancers who would dance to the music, and then that transitioned into the birth of Much Music, I believe, although I don't think necessarily 100% related. Maybe it was Solid Gold MTV and then Much Music. In any case, music videos weren't a thing when I was born and became a thing at some point before I was the age of 10. And my mother and I used to watch that. So that was cool. Memories. Let's see here. Ella Jeep wants to know if, what is this? Okay. Ella Jeep wants to know if police are exempt from cell phone while driving laws. She is perturbed. Ella Jeep, I'm sorry to tell you that yes, police, fire, ambulance, we're all permitted to use our connected devices, our two-way radios, our computers. We're all permitted to. We're exempt from that law. There's other people who are exempt as well, like ham radio operators. Those are licensed amateur radio operators. There's other people who can do it as well. In fact, you can do it under certain circumstances. For instance, calling 911 in an emergency situation, regardless of whether or not you have Bluetooth, you can call police. Of course, we are police. We have to answer. I'm kidding. We don't answer the phone. Dispatch does. But we do have to have access to all those tools in order for us to maintain access to information that could impact public or officer safety. So we need to be able to do it. Now, I have a connected officer phone. This is not it. It's the one I'm talking to for Instagram. And that phone is a direct police device, computer, two-way radio, everything. And I need to be able to use that legally. So yes, we acknowledge that using a device is a distraction of some form, but we are permitted to use it under law. And think about it this way. If everyone's doing it, it's bad. It's not good if we have to do it. It's acknowledged that it's a level of distraction, but it's a lot better than if everyone's using it. So if we're the only ones doing it, we're doing it lawfully. It is far better than everyone, being distracted. Now, we would prefer to be able to pull over to the road and use it. In ideal situations, we would, but we're given the authority to use it because very often we have to. For instance, running a license plate. We're typing into a keyboard. We're reading stuff off a screen. We have to be able to do that. Okay. Question from Zach. Zach Mercer. In Ontario, what is the legal limit of alcohol you can consume before driving / age you can drive under? Let's back it up. If you are a learner, a G1, a G2, an M1, an M2, you have a learner's permit. You have a requirement of 0 blood alcohol content, 0 BAC, no alcohol or drugs in your system to drive. That's it. When you get your G-class license, people believe that's when they can drink. It's not so. There's a further condition. You must be over the age of 22 or more. 21-year-old person cannot have any alcohol in their system. They're still under a 0 BAC requirement. Now, let's say, what are we going to go here? So that's the thing. Now, what is the limit you can have in your system? You can have 0.05 and under 0.05, so 0.049, you can have that in your blood system and drive legally. However, impairment can be in any form. So you could be impaired, responsible for being impaired while driving, even if you're under the legal limit, different charge. So the best thing is no drugs or alcohol in your system when you're driving. That's what we'd like to see. That's the best way to play. When you're talking about, getting a 3-day suspension for WARN, that's when we talk about being 0.05 to 0.079. That's going to be a non-criminal charge. Or not even a charge, you're just going to get a suspension, an administrative suspension on the first time, 3 days. Second time, within 10 years, you'll get a 7-day, and things escalate from there. Now, if you're 0.08 BAC and above, that's criminal. That's arrested. That's bad things happen. Not only is it extremely expensive to deal with, it is not fun. There'll be a impound of your vehicle, a criminal charge, and a 90-day suspension immediately upon charge, and then there's subsequent things that happen once you start going to court. And the average is $15,000 to $30,000 to defend that case, if you choose to defend yourself. Okay. Anything else I can tell you about for impaired driving? There's lots of stuff we can talk about, but let me know if you need more. Question. As a pedestrian, I see cars/SUV with black side windows. Driver. I cannot see the driver for eye contact. If you can't see in, those are illegal tints, and I would take the license plate down and make a report on our website, www.tps.ca. That's absolutely something that is worthy of reporting because those vehicles cannot see the driver. Sorry, you cannot see the driver as a pedestrian. As a cyclist, they can't see. As other drivers, they can't see. And that's the reason there's nonverbal communication. We need to be able to make eye contact to figure out what's happening. And when it's blacked out windows, they're unsafe. And if they're so blacked out that I can't see in at all, chances are it's an illegal tint that is over the 30% light blockage, meaning I would take the license plates or have them peel the tint at the side of the road if they didn't want to get towed away. But absolutely, absolutely, absolutely unsafe. You need to be able to see, and they need to see you. Most people just want to pick their nose in privacy, and I get that. But Nose Pickers Anonymous will take your call, and you don't need tint. I'm just making fun of tinted people. I don't know. I don't tint anything. I don't understand the need for it. The rear windows, I absolutely like tints on my rear windows. I want to keep my kids cool. I want to keep my kids private. I don't need people staring at them because they're so cute. Okay, fine. I'm biased. Let's see here. Oh my goodness, EC. Killer Dracona says, I think much music evolved from Electric Circus. Didn't watch that either. Didn't learn to appreciate music until my late teens. I used to watch EC, and I used to watch all that stuff. I really enjoyed it. And then I was a DJ for a while. I used to do the weddings and bar mitzvahs kind of stuff. Let's see. Abram Jason says, is it Abram Jason? Okay. Since COVID, do you still have tour? What is this? Oh, since COVID, do you still have tours in the Toronto Police Museum? I don't know if we have guided tours, but the Police Museum located at 40 College Street is open to the public again. From my understanding, you could call ahead to confirm, but I believe it's once again open. They ask for a small donation because it's all funded based on the gift shop. By the way, the 808 is the gift shop at Toronto Police Headquarters and has lots of cool stuff to buy if you were so inclined. You can also go to their website, which I think is linked off of the Toronto Police TPS.ca website. Again, it's called the 808. Okay. I do recall this. Chase says, but as you might recall, I was told by the ministry that a GM2 license was considered a novice and no alcohol, but you, but I know you feel differently. Yes, I believe that the ministry is absolutely incorrect. If you have a GM2, which means you have a full G license and a learner's permit on your motorcycle license, you were given information suggesting that meant that you couldn't have alcohol in your blood at all, even when you have a G license in an automobile. The M2 condition is for motorcycle and motorcycle only, and that condition of 0 BAC is only applicable to that type of vehicle. So yes, we are based on the information you provided that they told you that it meant that you were a novice or a learner all the way around is not correct. And they can call me on that. We'll have a chat. Oh, very cool. Lots of people joining the Discord server. So that's good to know. Thanks, Chase, for letting me know. And just to sort of bring everyone into that topic, so you know what we're talking about when we say the Discord server, the logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen is the Volley logo. That app is on the chopping block, unfortunately. It was a great startup. I think it's a fantastic technology. They basically created a platform allowing you to send video, voice, or text messages and be part of a non-linear communication group. You could basically have a meeting with people and everyone weighs in at their own time whenever they're catching up. And I thought it was amazing. And it just didn't get that people didn't get into it. They didn't understand it. The people who know. The people who didn't know, they lost out. In any case, they don't have the funding to continue. So on April 30th, they are going to cease to be. And we are transitioning to Discord, which is where we actually started out. We had a Discord group and we are our Discord server and we are going back there. So if you'd like to join that, use the scatter code in the top left-hand corner of your screen. That will take you to my link tree. And on the link tree, there's an invitation link to go into our Discord server. Yes. What is this? Oh, we talked. What is this? As a pedestrian, I think that's a duplicate. Is it not a duplication? I thought we. Okay, so this is a follow-up question from Treadle Quilts. Am I? Okay. As a pedestrian, I see cars, SUVs with black side windows. I think this is the same question. I just don't know. Tinted windows isn't a Vision Zero specific thing, but we do. It doesn't fall under our big four focus because we focus on speed, aggressive driving, distracted driving, and impaired driving. But that doesn't mean that it's not something that impacts safety. So we're very interested in stopping people from having unsafe vehicles in general. We have officers who are very interested in supporting the all road users, making the roads safer for everybody. We're in traffic because we want to be in traffic. There's a couple of people who may have transferred here just because we needed people, but for the vast majority of traffic officers are people who choose to be here, and that's good because they care, and we're all working towards helping people. Police officers are people helping people. That's what we are. Okay. The Krista London. Question: can dogs legally be free moving in a car, or are they supposed to be crated or seat belted? Fantastic question. Legally, there's no specific law saying that a dog must be gotta shift. Do they have to be locked down? However, for safety, because you like that best friend of yours, they should be tethered. They should be in the backseat, tethered or crated. We've got a couple of episodes because we've spoken to people from the SPCA and from the Toronto Humane Society, and they unanimously suggest that tethering or crating is the way to go. And tethering the crate, if a crate is what you use to transport your furry friend. The deal is they cannot be in the way of the driver. That's careless driving and or driving while crowded. So there are charges to apply to an animal or to the driver who allows an animal to be on and up in their business. But in terms of if the dog is roaming around the back seat, is it against the law? No, but here's the other situation. In the event of a collision, a dog that is not secured, or an animal that is not secured, becomes a furry projectile who could hurt you and, of course, themselves. Even if they are okay, um, uh, even if they are okay after the collision, let's say the window's broken, that the door is open, they can become scared, aggressive with emergency services personnel. They could get loose and run on the highway and get injured either more, or if they hadn't already been injured. It's a bad day. So not in the front seat, ideally, but certainly not able to interfere with the driver's ability to safely operate the vehicle. Okay. Are we allowed to fly drones in Toronto? So first of all, you have to know what the rules are surrounding drones. You can get all the information. Maybe I should put a link to that, because I am a drone operator, but I am a drone operator who has a 249-gram Mini from DJI, and that means I don't need a license. I do want to get the license, but I don't need one because mine is under the requirement weight, which means I can fly it anywhere using common sense and keeping it away from people and so on. There are some rules even for me, which is really covered under don't be doing silly stuff. But if you have a drone that is 250 grams or higher, you are under the regulation, and you have to have a permit. And you have to stay out of certain zones. And one of those is staying away from airports. And I think it's 5 or 7 miles from an airport, or maybe it's 5 miles and 7 kilometers, whatever the case is. There are rules. You got to look them up and follow. So Toronto is, especially downtown Toronto, is really close to a number of airports, which makes it a no-fly zone. And you could be getting into some serious trouble, depending on what kind of drone you have. Okay. Your girl wants to know, how does a breathalyzer in a vehicle work? Can a person get someone else to breathe into it to start? That's called an interlock. What you're describing is an interlock. And if you have one in your vehicle because you have been ordered by the court to have one in the event that you want to drive, because you can either choose not to drive, or if you want to drive, you have to be entered into the interlock program, which is a program that you have to pay to get. And obviously, if you have somebody else blow, it's against the law. Now, there are people who do this, but it's against the law. And if it's allowing someone who's under the influence of alcohol to provide a breath sample in order to keep to start the car, and then randomly throughout driving to maintain driving. So if you have an interlock condition on your license and you're driving a car that doesn't have an interlock, it's against the law. Seize the vehicle. Doesn't matter who owns the vehicle. We seize the vehicle and impound it. If you get somebody else to breathe into it, that's a problem. There's charges for that. If you have an interlock, don't drive unless you can pass the interlock test. Yeah. Interesting question. Were you asked to provide a breath sample, or are you looking at getting around ways of using it? No judgment. 808 has good pricing for what it is. Good to know, Chase. So when I joined as an auxiliary, so my history for those who don't know me, I started as an auxiliary officer because there was a hiring freeze. I then became a court officer in the same year because they had an opening, and I was having so much fun as an auxiliary. I just wanted to get paid and keep doing it. So I joined, and every time I got an approval I got hired, so I got hired for courts, hired for auxiliary, hired for PC. I went and bought something significant at the 808, which was then just called, I think, the museum gift shop. In any case, I have a lot of stuff that says Toronto Police on it. Let's see here. Treadle, I don't know how to pronounce it. Treadle Quilts. Thank you for your answer. It was very informative. Thank you for the thank you. Much appreciated. Let's see here. Sam wants to know if there's new technology for detecting if stickers are expired. That is a fantastic question, and absolutely, it's not necessarily a new technology, but we are utilizing or services around Ontario are utilizing the technology. So, prior to the change where we got rid of the license plate renewals. Well, that's not true. We still have license plate renewals. Before we got rid of validation stickers because it was cheaper not to have to produce them, and there was a cost-saving measures by the province. And then, in addition, they passed it down to say you didn't have to pay for a renewal, but you do have to renew. And if you want to renew, or regardless if you want to, if you need to renew, you can go use the scatter code in the top left-hand corner of the screen, or go to trafficcop.ca, and I have a link that says renew your license plate. And when you click that, if they're up, oh, look at that. It'll allow you to renew your license plate for free for most vehicles. Go do that. Make sure you do that. Now, in terms of how do we do it, we can manually enter it, and that's what we've been doing forever. And if once we are outfit with what the OPP is currently operating with, it's called an automatic license plate reader, ALPR, and it'll just automatically detect the license plate, read it, and let us know if it's not valid. It is a good thing. What is this? The OPP and WRPS have the fatal four: speeding, distracted, impaired, and seatbelts. Why doesn't VZET add seatbelts to its list? And as it will certainly cause injury in most collisions. We call it the big four because we include aggressive driving into the big four. Seatbelts is certainly part of it, and we don't turn a blind eye to seatbelts, but we look at the focus for Vision Zero as our big four, and they have their big four. But I don't know why we don't add it. Like maybe we call it the big five. I honestly do not see people without seatbelts when I drive around. There's one person I know who doesn't wear a seatbelt on a regular basis, and that person is older and related to me, and I yell and wave my arms whenever I hear the bing 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 in the background. I don't know how anyone can get past the bing bing bing, but I don't see seatbelts as a major concern now. I don't see people not wearing them, but it's definitely something that should be enforced when we do. Terry wants to know if we sterilize the breathalyzer unit after every test. So the breathalyzer unit, well, first of all, there's two units. There's a roadside screening device, and there's the breathalyzer or the toxalyzer unit that's used at a police station. Both use brand new sealed mouthpieces. So you are never putting your lips on a system or something that anyone's ever touched before. You get a brand new sample that you take out of a package, or that is taken out of a package in such a way that you know that it's fresh and clean. And that's it. That's there's no sterilizing the entire everything, but it is a brand new mouthpiece every time you use it. Okay, but great question, and I think you're the first person to ask that question in 2 years. First person ever, and we've been doing this for over 2 years. I don't think anyone's ever asked about that, but I could be wrong. We'd have to watch a whole lot of video to find out if I'm accurate. But to the best of my knowledge, you're the first, so kudos. Okay, Kyle, who's coming in from Twitch, asks, I've been to Toronto for 48 hours of my life, and the power was out for a huge part of the city in August 2022. Was that an interesting day for you? The 2022 one, not so much. The one that happened a number of years earlier, that one was intense. That was a much longer period of time of outage where I spent the entire night. I was an auxiliary officer, and I spent the entire night at a gas station directing traffic because it was the only gas station in the city that was capable of pumping gas, and there was a lot of problems. But anytime we have power outages that are major, that have major impact, it is where we find out just how panicked people get when they can't watch Netflix. I'm kidding. There was a lot of issues. And I was fortunate. I did not have a power outage. I had power the entire time, but I have things in place, like I have a generator for just in case. And I was fortunate that I didn't even need to use it. But it's scary stuff. What is this? Chase says, I believe they insert a new straw before each use. Yes, that's following up on the whole roadside screening device. Okay, here's a good question. Scrolling back, so a whole bunch of questions just refreshed. Where'd it go? Here it is. Come back. Where'd it go? Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming in. Every once in a while, it doesn't. Did I pass it? What's going on here? Yes, it did. Mike wants to know, where should I put alcohol? My truck is a red cab. Anywhere in the truck is in reach of the driver. If your alcohol is sealed from the factory, brand new, never opened, where you turn it, it would go click, click, click as it tears the seal. If it's sealed from factory, you can put it anywhere. You could put it in your pocket. Not a good idea, but you could legally. Once the seal is broken, it has to be out of reach of the driver, and that becomes an issue. If there's nowhere that is out of reach, then you should not transport alcohol that is being opened. Only deal with fresh from factory. Trunk is now, you may not have a trunk, but there must be a stowage place outside of reach. So again, sealed from factory anywhere, and that deals for legally purchased marijuana as well. But if it's broken, seal, you have issues. Okay, Nick, what is involved in civil? What is this? What is involved in the civilian security clearance to work in a police department? I'm not a person who's ever worked in backgrounds, but I imagine it's similar to that of being a police officer. So if you want more information on that, I would suggest you check out our careers page. They will bring you some information about all of the different stuff, all the different roles and what's required of them. Generally speaking, they list it as a no criminal record, good moral character. They want to talk to people that know you. Police officer just gets more and more intense. Just curious if they had any more job posting. Oh, it's a third job posting now. So we have client technology services help desk analyst. That's a new job that just posted. 40-hour work week, $40 an hour. Actually, it's 40 and change. It's a temporary 6-month contract. Lots of information. What can I expect to do? Blah, blah, blah. Lots of information. Hey, maybe you want to work for us in that role. Maybe it's a different one. Check our website all the time, because we are always hiring good people for different roles, different things. Not all of them are police roles. What is this? Here we go. If I'm doing the speed limit and another driver passed, how the speed camera can differentiate. I'm having a part-time reading. A part-time? Hang on. Okay, let's try this again. If I am doing the speed limit and another driver passed, how the speed camera differentiate? Okay, took a couple of tries, but I got it. The answer is it has technology that allows it to determine different vehicles. Obviously, the one passing you is the one passing you. No, it can tell. It's taking multiple frames. It's not one. It has the technology to do that. And obviously, it's going to be different with the automated system. But as an officer making speed enforcement observations, I can see that there's two cars and one is going faster than the other because I'm making those observations. It's doing the same thing electronically. Big Jeff Fresh says the 2002 blackout was the fun. Was the fun? Or have you been watching some is it DC Comics cartoons? Because there's a character there that talks like that. In any case, Starfire, yeah, that was fun. No, I added the fun. Boy, I need to go take a nap. Okay. Is citizens arrest still a thing in Canada? Mike wants to know. The citizen arrest thing is still a thing in Canada. I believe it's also a thing in the United States and in most countries. There are requirements that you know the powers of arrest. So just doing a citizen's arrest is probably a bad idea, because you may find yourself being liable for false arrest or bad things happen when you do things you're not lawfully permitted to do. So there are times when you are allowed to, like when it's a indictable offense, fines committing. But you have to know what an indictable offense is. Or if you are a property owner or representative of someone who is the occupier of property that has the lawful authority to do certain things. So just doing it, bad idea. But yes, citizens arrest is still something that exists, and it's what security guards use to make arrests. What is this? Jose wants to know. My dispute ticket is in screen scheduled status. I haven't paid it yet. Am I good? I don't know. I don't understand the question. My dispute ticket is in screen scheduled status. I still don't understand. So maybe you can rephrase your question, but if you've submitted a request to go to trial and you've not received any notice, which may be what you're talking about, I would check with the courts to find out if there's been any updates. If you haven't received notice of court, it does take a long time, or can take a long time. So no news is good news, but it doesn't go away. Okay, Scorpion King. My company vehicle was pulled over for DUI. Will be my other employees get pulled by those plates? So someone who's charged is the person who's charged, not the vehicle. Will everyone get pulled over because one person got a DUI? It might relate to that driver, but we're not pulling people over because the plate was once upon a time charged. It's based on driver activity at the time, and will they see the history of the vehicle? Possibly. Will that change how we treat people? No, we're going to be evaluating each driver on their own. If I hit, what is this? If I hit the gritty on the crosswalk, but it says no crossing, is it still jaywalking? The gritty? I don't know if this is slang or if it's something I should really understand. Jaywalking is oh, I see. So if you hit somebody while they are crossing against the light, is a jaywalk. You're not allowed to hit people with a car, regardless of what the other person is doing. You're not permitted to hit them. If that's where you're going with this, I see the happy, smiley, laughy face. But that's the deal. You can't hit people. Hitting people bad, but it's not jaywalking. It's failed to. It would be crossing against the light. Could they be responsible for a charge in the event that happens? Sure. Could they have actually created the collision situation? Sure. But every situation is going to be independently evaluated, and your driving could result in you getting a ticket, and their driving could also be result in them getting a ticket. So it depends. It's too hard to say, and I need to update my slang, apparently. How long do you have to wait to go to court for a ticket? Is there a statute of limits on this? So there's something called an 11B application that you can make if you've gone beyond what used to be a year, but was that extended during COVID to 2 years. And I don't know if that's reverted back to a year, or if because of the backlog, it's still at 2 years. And that means that you can apply to say it's been an unreasonable length of time. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't just expire. It's not a statute of limitations per se. So if you think that it's been an unreasonable amount of time, you can make application and see how that goes for you. But it's up to the courts to decide. And they may say, nope, totally reasonable. The whole world's dealing with things, and we're dealing with things as they come. Are we still dealing for Discord mods? We haven't really talked about this. That we had some people that were helping as community moderators back in the day. Maybe we'll do the same thing again, but we haven't gone there yet. So hang out. We'll talk there, and yeah, that's it. And my wife says, "Have a safe day, everybody." And I concur. Have a safe day. I'm gonna go take a nap because apparently I'm done talking. I'm out of juice. I can't do no more. I need a break. And if you are going to be in the city of Toronto at 12:30 or 12:45. I got an email. I think they updated my start time for the radio show, but I will be on the Kelly Contreras show on AM 640 to talk about stuff and things. So with that, I say ciao for now. And we'll be back tomorrow for Friday. It's already a week done? That was too fast. It just gone so fast. If you're driving, drive sober, follow the rules, slow down, don't use your phone, all that jazz. And if you're listening to Achille Draconis, he says, stay safe and don't have a good day, have a great day. And I concur. Grinch says, have a great day. Thanks again for being awesome. I try for the awesome. I posted a couple of videos, one on the voiceover cop, one on the traffic services channel. Please check them both out. Tell me what you think. One of them, the voiceover cop one, is dealing with video and technology, and I'm curious to see if you see the difference between the picture-in-picture and the regular one. In any case, my babbling will end until another day. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.